What a beautiful, beautiful Olympic City, USA day. What a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous Rocky Mountain Navy day. And most importantly, fabulously, this is Don Stratton Day. Today we pay special tribute to our own Pikes Peak hero, Don Stratton, and his beautiful wife of 68 years, Velma. At this time, Troop 77 Scout will present flowers to Velma. Thank you, Velma, for your steadfast service to Don and to our great nation. And we want to recognize the Stratton family and extended family and friends who are with us today. Thank you for joining us. I think you guys came from across the whole nation. And last count I heard, it was right around 63 who consider themselves either Stratton family or close friends of the Stratton family. 63. We have 4 generations here, 6 grandchildren, 4 grandchildren. Phenomenal. Great job, guys. And please stand to be recognized. Please stand to be recognized.
All right.
So I guess my question is, who came the furthest? I heard San Francisco, North Carolina. North Carolina. Anybody from overseas? Just North Carolina? All right. There's a prize for you in the back. So there's And to George's family, represented today by Mrs. Joanne George Taylor and her husband, Gary. Please stand to be recognized. And the military has had a significant presence in Colorado Springs area for over 77 years. We started with the U.S. Army's Camp Carson and has grown into a thriving community of 5 military installations and key national commands. In addition, we have 2 bridges named for our 2 World War II naval heroes. I wonder how that happened. Because of this strong military presence, Colorado Springs is well known as a national defense leader around the globe. Many of the men and women who are courageous enough to wear our nation's uniform have transitioned into our community, most notably our own Stratton family. Their experience has helped shape our region's culture of service. The Pikes Peak Heroes Legacy Committee is proud to know and support the Stratton family, offering advocacy and reinforcing our community's culture of recognizing our heroes who live amongst us. Thank you to all of you who have and continue to champion our national defenders and our Pikes Peak community. Before we go on, I'd like to recognize our distinguished guests today that are with us. Please hold your applause until the end. On the dais who are in the program with me today, Don and Velma Stratton, Representative Colorado House District 16, Larry Liston, El Paso County Board of County Commissioner Stan Vanderwerth, Colorado Springs City Councilman Andy Pico, Rear Admiral Dietrich Coleman, United States Navy out of D.C. Welcome, sir. And our chaplain, our own chaplain, Bradley Davila, thank you. And Randy Stratton, son of Don Stratton, thank you. And again, in the audience and around us, please hold your applause to the end, but I'd like to recognize some of our political leaders. We have with us today Colorado State Secretary of State Wayne Williams. We have, and also representing Senator Cory Gardner's office, Sam Gunther. Representing the Congressman Lamborn's office, Jim Tackett. State Senator Bob Gardner. I saw a senator there earlier. From the House of Representatives, Representative Paul Lundeen from House District 19. House District 20, Representative Terry Carver. And also House District 62, Donald Valdez. From El Paso County Board of County Commissioners, Commissioners Peggy Littleton and Lajinos Gonzalez. Representing our mayor's office, we have my lovely wife, Katie Lally, and Mike Sullivan. You're in good company there, Mike. So, from Colorado Springs City Council, City Councilman Tom Strand. And from Teller County, Commissioner Norm Steen. Also, I want to do a quick shout out that put a lot of heart and soul behind this is El Paso County Administrator Henry Jankowski. Please stand and be recognized. And a few senior military leaders. I'm not sure if I saw them, but I know they wanted to be here. But and please hold your applause to the end. But Colorado's TAG Adjutant General Mike Lowe, Major General Mike Lowe, and then Major General retired Wes Clark. So thank you, men, for being with us today. On our civic side, I saw our new CEO at Penrose Hospital out of Denver, Brian Erling, and Kate Hatton, our CEO at Peaks Military Care Network. And to my fellow Pikes Peak Heroes Legacy Committee, please stand and be recognized. And a warm welcome to our many political, military, and civic leaders who are with us today. We salute you all. And I noticed we have the Colorado National Guard right here, right across the street. I saw they're with us today, Reserves, National Reserve Center out of Fort Carson. Thanks, guys. And Navy League of Colorado Springs is represented. Thank you. And really a neat thing I think we need to highlight here, we have the Nash family with us here. And I'm looking at young Steve Nash at 7 years old. But there's a relationship between Steve and Don Stratton. And you probably saw the video right around December. It happened December 7th when out to Pearl Harbor, but the video was probably prior to that, Don. But he actually, the Nash family actually flew out to Pearl Harbor December 7th to be with Don and the Stratton. What's that? Nestrick family. Oh, I said Nash family. Yeah, okay, got it. Nestrick family. Yep, good. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Thanks for being here. From San Francisco. Up front, I want to say thank you to the Holiday Village for graciously hosting us today, and very thankful to all the volunteers helping with this spectacular ceremony. Thanks, Holiday Village. I would like to now introduce John Titus, Comcast executive. Come on up, John. Retired Captain Navy. Right in through John's bio, the most important part of his career is that John's a Naval Academy graduate and he's a U.S. Navy captain retired. We are grateful for John and to Comcast for stepping up as our sponsor today and for their ongoing support. John, please join me and say a few words.
Thanks, everybody. It's great to be here. I tell you, now I understand why my Navy friends who have been stationed here in Colorado Springs stay here. So it's the weather, more importantly, the people here. So I've been nothing but feeling the love here, and I really appreciate it. So let me get started here. Thanks, Bob, for the introduction. Good morning. My name is John Titus, and I am the Executive Director of Strategic Supply Chain Partnerships at Comcast NBC Universal and a proud Navy veteran. On behalf of Comcast NBC Universal, we are honored to be the sponsor for the I-25 Fillmore Donald G. Stratton U.S.-Arizona Survivor Bridge Signs in today's ceremony, which we understand the bridge signs are going to be installed by the Colorado Department of Transportation today. So thank you very much. It's a privilege to recognize this Pearl Harbor survivor, Navy sailor, and war hero in this way. We appreciate everyone who is here today joining us in celebrating this great American. I learned this cool fact that Commissioner Stan Vanderwerf was so impressed by Mr. Stratton's courageous service that he initiated a county proclamation declaring June 8th, 2017 a Don Stratton Day in El Paso County. So like you mentioned, happy Don Stratton Day today. So that's pretty cool. Supporting the military community is part of our company DNA. Our founder, Ralph Roberts, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. We started our Veterans Network in 2012 and have over 6,000 members and growing. We also recently stood up our military and veteran affairs team, led by retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Carol Eggert, that are solely dedicated to developing programs and outreach, connecting us with the nation's military community, as well as with the community partners, our employees, and our customers. As mentioned, I also proudly served in the U.S. Navy like Ms. Stratton. I enlisted in the Navy first, and then earned my college degree and officer commission from the U.S. Naval Academy. Since we are in the backyard of the Air Force Academy, I have to say, whether you Naval Academy graduates, go Navy, beat Air Force. Come on. And I'm wearing my proud USNA tie in case you want to take a look at it and take a picture. So, great. During my 20-plus year Navy career, I served in a variety of key leadership positions afloat and ashore, which provided me with a diverse background and valuable skills that have been crucial in my roles in Comcast. I've served in 4 ships. I served in combat 3 times with Desert Storm, Kosovo Operation Iraqi Freedom, and served in numerous humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations, with my last deployment as the head of logistics for the Pakistan Earthquake Relief Operation. I've applied my experience and skills learned in the military to all my activities at Comcast, from applying my contingency operation experience with the Superstorm Sandy Hurricane Recovery Operation, which occurred 3 weeks after I joined Comcast, to applying my supply corps officer training with the development of a world-class supply chain for the company, to also applying the taking care of your troops leadership lessons learned with the company's professional development efforts. My family and I have been truly blessed and are truly grateful to have served in the Navy. Comcast NBC Universal has long recognized the incredible talent and value of our military community brings to any company. They are problem solvers, they are inventive, and more importantly, they exemplify the leadership, dedication, and teamwork in every role they are asked to take on. In 2015, Comcast NBC Universal committed to achieving an exciting but ambitious goal. By the end of 2017, we aimed to hire 10,000 veterans, National Guard and Reserve members, and military spouses across our company. I'm extremely proud to say that we not only met that goal, we surpassed it. We hired at all levels: network engineering, technology, operations, theme parks and resorts, customer service, marketing, human resources, and leadership executives. Our company has benefited greatly with our military hiring efforts. In Colorado, we employ more than 400 members of the military community, and we have more than 640 employees who are members of our Veterans Network, which is dedicated to supporting our company's military community. We are grateful to be here today and be part of the ceremony honoring Mr. Don Stratton for his remarkable military career and service to our country. We thank you, Don, for your service in the Navy and for writing the great book, All the Gallant Men, an American sailor's first-hand account of Pearl Harbor and the first memorial by a U.S. Arizona survivor. If you haven't picked up the book yet, please do. It's a good read. Thank you again. God bless our military, and God bless America. Now I'll turn over to Bob again to introduce the next speaker. Thank you very much.
Got your book here? Thank you, John, and thanks again for Comcast for supporting today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, your Colorado House Representative, Larry Liston.
Thank you, Bob. Boy, I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel very, very safe here with the Air Force, Navy, Marines, Army, Coast Guard. So this is probably one of the safest places to be in Colorado Springs. Thank you all for your service. Rear Admiral Coleman, Commissioner Vanderwerf, Councilman Pico, Mr. and Mrs. Stratton, Velma, Representative Valdez, distinguished veterans, it is wonderful that we are here today to celebrate this great occasion. What a glorious day for Colorado Springs and for the Stratton family. Almost a year ago, Commissioner Vanderwerf and I had the pleasure to meet with Mr. Stratton and talk with him in great detail about his experiences on that day of infamy, December 7th, 1941, What an honor that was. Shortly after our meeting, Commissioner Vanderwerf and I knew that we had a true hero in our midst and that something needed to be done to pay tribute to such a distinguished veteran living here in our community. Over the past 2 years, we have seen the reconstruction of the Fillmore Street Bridge, but something was lacking. It was just going to be another bridge. And quite frankly, our community deserved more and could do better. We had a distinguished veteran that we could honor, and Mr. Stratton was the deserving solution to our dilemma. I was excited to start a legislative process to honor Mr. Stratton in a meaningful way, and today this is the culmination of that process. This event would not be possible without the collaboration of many people and organizations. I'd like to thank my good friend and colleague, Commissioner Stan Vanderwerf, for his aid and support, the Pikes Peak Heroes Legacy Committee for all of their work, my colleagues in the General Assembly who voted and supported this resolution, and especially Representative Valdez, who came all the way up here from southern Colorado. Don, thanks for coming up. As I said, my colleagues who supported it, the good people of CDOT who have made this signage to honor Mr. Stratton, and last but not least, I would like to thank Mike Nelson, who you don't know and he is not here, of Comcast, who when he heard the idea about this way back in January, he said Comcast is all in. And Mr. Titus, thank you for coming all the way out from Philadelphia. God bless you all. I think most of us here today know the history of December 7th, 1941, and the events that surrounded Mr. Stratton, his shipmates on the USS Arizona, and Joe George of the USS Vestal. And what an honor, I'm going off my prepared remarks, to meet Mr. George's daughter and son-in-law. So thank you for being here. I did not realize you were going to be here. So special tribute to you. Thank you. Today, Mr. Stratton is one of 4 living survivors of the USS Arizona out of a crew of over 2,400. Mr. Stratton, we are so blessed by your presence. We thank you for your distinguished service to our community and our country in World War II, and we are excited to dedicate this bridge to commemorate you and your fellow Navy seamen. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. What many here today don't fully realize about Donald Stratton is that he didn't stop serving his country after Pearl Harbor. After spending many months recovering from his wounds and his burns, in 1943, he once again volunteered to serve his country on the USS Stack. He put himself in harm's way and served with distinction until the end of the war in 1945. He truly put service above self. Seaman Stratton's unyielding bravery and service to our country reminds me of a fitting tribute by President John F. Kennedy, who said, "Now the trumpet summons us again. Not a call just to bear arms, though arms we need. Not as a call to battle, though embattled we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in, year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, disease, and war itself." Donald Stratton is one of the few living legacies that ties us to the heroism and sacrifices that so many made to ensure freedom and liberty for all of us here today. This ceremony today is not only about naming a bridge after a veteran, the namesake is almost superfluous. More importantly, by honoring Seaman First Class Stratton, we are paying tribute to all the gallant men he represents who gave their lives over 75 years ago. Mr. Stratton is a living example for his fellow sailors and all of us here today who made the sailors who made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can carry the torch of liberty. Let us remember that the Donald Stratton Bridge symbolizes strength, resiliency, courage, and that this bridge links the past to the future, and we must be ever vigilant in the defense of our country. May God bless you, noble seaman Stratton. God bless America. Thank you for all being here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, your El Paso County Commissioner, retired Colonel, U.S. Air Force, Stan Vanderwerf.
Thank you very, very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm Stan Vanderwerf, El Paso County Commissioner for District 3, which includes this great Fillmore Bridge project and Holiday Village where we stand today. And what a great day. This is a day to honor a great young man, Mr. Don Stratton. And he is truly a young man. And thank you to his family. I think his entire family is here, and it's amazing. But I'll tell you what's important about that is what we're doing here means so much to the Stratton family. And I'll tell you, that's another part about why this event is so special. You know, it's an amazing story about how I got to meet Don. When I was campaigning for my current elected office, I actually knocked on his and Velma's door here in Holiday Village. And I have to tell you, I was amazed that I was actually talking to somebody that was on the USS Arizona during the Pearl Harbor attack. That had never, nothing close to that had ever happened to me before. And being a history buff, that was a special moment for me. At that time, I resolved if I was elected, I would do something to recognize Don. And I won my election, and on June 8, 2017, El Paso County proclaimed that day, the El Paso County Don Stratton Day. And that was also a special event. Then I found out we were naming the Cimarron Bridge after Jim Downing, another Navy hero from Pearl Harbor. So I inquired if we could name that bridge the Downing-Stratton Bridge. But the proclamation had already taken place, and it was not possible to change the name at that time. So I thought about naming another bridge in our town after Don Stratton. And I thought, you know, it wouldn't be bad if it was the Fillmore Bridge, because that's only 300 yards or so from where the Strattons live. So I called Representative Larry Liston to see if he would be willing to sponsor a proclamation this last legislative session. And he was thrilled and honored to do so. So on 26 January this year, a large contingent of Don's family and many others from our community here traveled to Denver and watched the Colorado House proclaim the Fillmore Bridge to be the Donald G. Stratton Bridge. After that unanimous vote, Don received a 10-minute standing ovation while the House was in session. It was incredible. And as a testament to the character of Mr. Stratton, while that ovation was going on, he stood and saluted the members of the State House. This is the character of a man from the greatest generation. There was not a dry eye in the place, and it was another special moment for me. So it is fitting that we choose today, 8 June, El Paso County Don Stratton Day, to officially name the Fillmore Bridge in Don's honor. And I find it ironic in a town that is arguably an Air Force and Army town that we named our two newest and most important bridges after Navy veterans. How about that? You know, it's important to remember heroes are discovered and created from every walk of life. We are really blessed in this country. We have heroes and they come from everywhere, and it's only a matter of discovering them. And I'm also very proud of this fantastic community. This community honors its heroes. We care about our legacy and our history, and we appreciate each other for our good deeds and character. And as such, because of what has happened here, we actually created the Pikes Peak Heroes Legacy Committee. Its original intent was to honor Don Stratton, but the members of the board for the Heroes Legacy Committee has decided to continue their work as a committee to recognize additional local hometown heroes in the future, because we do have more here to recognize. I find it amazing that we now have the Heroes Legacy Committee. We have the naming of the Fillmore Bridge. We have the El Paso County Don Stratton Day, all because I knocked on a door in the fall of 2016. How about that? So what an honor it is today to recognize one of our hometown heroes. You know, we owe Don Stratton our gratitude for defending our country from tyranny. And from now on, every time I use the Donald G. Stratton Fillmore Bridge, I will remember Don, a humble man who I can now call a friend. Thank you everyone for coming and sharing the special ceremony with the Stratton family, and to Don and Velma and to the rest of us here. What a great day to be a Coloradan and a resident of El Paso County and Colorado Springs. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done. And now your Colorado Springs City Councilman, Andy Pico, United States Navy, retired.
Good morning. As a member of City Council, I have the privilege today of both representing that body and the City of Colorado Springs at this very important dedication. On a more personal note, as a retired naval officer, and as noted, it is tremendous to dedicate a second bridge to a Navy veteran here in Colorado Springs with so few Navy people. But it's already been mentioned, so I won't mention it again. So. The Navy presence here is pretty limited, but I noticed we have our Reserve Center people holding down Fort Carson. Welcome aboard. And I'm also probably, I think I'm the only elected official with a Navy background here in the Colorado Springs area at any level. I'm also a battleship sailor. Although the Iowa was a little later design and a little later on the calendar, but I am a battleship sailor as well as being a carrier aviator, and a particular appreciation for a fellow battleship sailor. Thank you. And I am humbled to be in the presence of Don Stratton and linked to the courage and heroism his life has reflected. Completion of this bridge, a major infrastructure component on the I-25 corridor, is another significant step for our community. It follows a growing list of investments in the bright future of Colorado Springs that will ensure we are maintaining the high quality of life that all here so well understand, and those who follow us will all appreciate. And again, that it's named for a Navy veteran is just awesome. Commemorating Don Stratton's legacy through the naming of this bridge brings it to life. More than concrete and steel, his name and his service to our country will be known to generations to come. Don Stratton represents that greatest generation that fought in World War II. Severely wounded at Pearl Harbor, he could have gone home, and all said that he had done his part. But he didn't, and that dedication is representative of all those who served during the war. This week we also note the 76th anniversary of the Battle of Midway, a key turning point in the Pacific Theater, and the 74th anniversary of the Normandy landing that started the liberation of Europe. Don Stratton served in the Pacific through some of the major battles in that theater. Mr. Stratton, the citizens of Colorado Springs are in your debt. Thank you and congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Dietrich Coleman. Admiral, you honor us in with your presence with us here today. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Good morning. It's an honor to be here on behalf of the Navy and honor the service of an American hero, Petty Officer Don Stratton. I'd also like to thank Don's family. That's a phenomenal story that so many of you are here. And thanks to the bravery and actions of a shipmate on another ship, Don was here and his family is here too. So that's thank you. I'd also like to thank the Pikes Peak Heroes Legacy Committee, Representative Liston, Councilman Pico, Commissioner Vanderwerf, Ms. Bourne, elected officials, and all the residents of El Paso County for making this day possible, taking the time to honor a brave sailor for actions on the Navy's most infamous day. I would ask that anyone present, this is not, as been noted, exactly a Navy town. Colorado Springs and El Paso County are steeped in patriotism and military tradition, and I'd like anybody who has ever served in our great military to please stand. Wow. Thank you all for your service to our great nation. The Chief of Naval Operations sends his regrets that other duties prevented his attendance. As Don said, everybody has to be someplace. If he were here, he would say that the actions of Petty Officer Don Stratton represent the very foundation on which he built the guidance for his seminal strategy, the maintaining maritime superiority. Let me read CNO's words on toughness, one of the core attributes every sailor must have to serve effectively, as our nation vies with two near competitors. Toughness, we can take a hit and keep going, tapping all sources of strength and resilience, rigorous training for operations and combat, the fighting spirit of our people, and the steadfast support of our families. Insert a picture of Petty Officer Don Stratton here. There's no better demonstration of toughness than his dedicated service until his excessive injuries forced him to crawl hand over hand to egress his burning ship while the USS Arizona exploded around him. Don Stratton demonstrated resiliency the Navy still needs today. That same resiliency drove Don to insist on rejoining his brothers in arms, despite initially being prevented by the Navy due to his injuries, and restore and re-go through boot camp to rejoin the Navy. The tenacity to not rest until the man who helped save his life, Petty Officer Joseph George, was recognized for his heroism that day. This shining example of American bravery and dedicated devotion to his duty and his shipmates is perhaps what inspired Admiral Yamamoto on the eve of his short-lived victory at Pearl Harbor to state, "I fear all that we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant," and filled him with a terrible resolve. It is fitting that we are here today on Don Stratton Day celebrating Petty Officer Stratton's toughness and resiliency just a day after the 76th anniversary of the Battle of Midway. A battle that turned the tide of the war, a battle that illustrated on a grand scale to the entire world that the U.S. Navy and the American people may have taken a hit, but we would triumph, bringing hope to the nation. Petty Officer Don Stratton, thank you. God bless you. God bless your family, and God bless America.
Thank you, Admiral. And Holiday Village's Community Manager, Stephanie Bourne. Please join us at the podium.
First off, I have to say I'm pretty honored to have come up here after all of these folks, you know, elected officials, all the military, and as he said, I'm Stephanie Bourne. I'm the community manager here, and back in December of 2007, Don and Velma came into our community, was looking for a place to, find their permanent home, and I was less than a year into my position here as manager. I felt an instant connection with the Strattons and was thrilled when they did choose to come here and call Holiday Village their home. And decided to spend the rest of their lives here with us. So it was a great honor. It has now been more than 10 years, and I have been privileged to get to know them and their son Randy during this time. I am constantly overjoyed by and proud of the love our community and our city has for them. Don is truly an inspiration for all of us to live our best lives, from what he has overcome to what he has accomplished in his 95 years of life. He really is a special person. And let's also not forget his wife Velma, who has stood by his side for over 68 years of marriage. And their son Randy, who is one of the most proud sons I have ever met. Don and his family have been such an inspiration to all of us here at Holiday Village and so many others across this great nation. It is why I am so grateful to be here today representing Holiday Village and introducing this wonderful man that we are all here to honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me to welcome our guest of honor and namesake of the I-25 Fillmore Bridge, Donald G. Stratton.
Right now, we'd like to make a presentation on behalf of the Stratton family. I have a Troop 77, Boy Scout Troop 77, making a presentation to Mrs. Joanne George Taylor from the Stratton family.
And this is
Hey, Randy.
this is a sign that we had done by Zach Smith, local guy here, and he made this for us. It has 6 sailors saluting Joe George. It has all the sailors on there who Joe saved that day, and it's also got his medal with V on it too as well. So we want to make sure that she knows that we love her, and 4 generations would not be here today without Joe George's heroism that day. So we appreciate Joanne very much. Love you.
And I think I had this story about right, but Joe George was a Lance Corporal on USS Vestal, which was tied up to the USS Arizona. And so when the Arizona got attacked, the ropes, the cross, were tied to the Arizona. Arizona's being sunk, and the USS Vestal's commanding officer, the captain of the ship, said, release the line so the ship wouldn't go down with the Arizona. 5 of those men were on the rope. Those 5 men that Randy just talked about were on the rope. That Lance Corporal disobeyed an order from a captain of the United States Navy ship, an order that he saved 5, 6 lives here. So that's why Don is with us. On December 7th, I know the Stratton family.
Petty Officer, 2nd class. He was. No, Lance Corporal, that's Marine Corps.
Oh, Lance, I'm talking, Joe George. Joe George?
Lance Corporal equals a general, I know.
Okay, so I got that in a half right. I was trying to help the Marine Corps out. So Petty Officer 2nd class, Joe George. Thank you for that. I promoted the Marine Corps. Don, can I bring the mic over to you for a couple words?
I can't say very much, but I'm sure glad to be here and glad to be around all these nice people. But when the signs go up on the highway, I hope everybody what passes gets a good clip and reminds them of the sacrifices that the people did make to make this possible. And also, when they go by in that land of freedom, that the people had people that returned from the war zone. Thanks for them and thanks for everybody, and thank you people for being here today. I love it.
Go ahead, have a seat. If you don't know who I am, I'm Randy Stratton. I'm That's my dad and my mom. You know, first of all, you know, I'd like to really thank, there's a couple people out there, I got a whole list of people, but for Joe George's family, you know, Senator Cory Gardner was instrumental in getting this done. And not only him, but if you turn around and look and wave your hand, Matt from the Navy, Matt Priebus, he was instrumental in getting this done too as well. But Cory Gardner and Matt, it took us 16 years to get this done. 16 years to get Joe decorated, and we found out who it was who saved my dad's life, and we thought, it's got to get done. And Matt led us the way. Senator Gardner finished it and made a phone call to General Kelly in the White House, and within 12 hours after that, it was done. So we appreciate Matt, and we appreciate Senator Cory Gardner for all that too as well. You know, my job is to tell everybody thanks again, but, you know, Stan, you know, we couldn't have done it without you, and the story, you know, stopping by my mom and dad's house to lead to this is something incredible, that's for sure. And Larry Liston for bringing the resolution on the floor to be able to pass this. Like I say, we can't thank you enough, because this is a legacy for our family and generations to come. And like my dad says, when you drive over the bridge, think of him, but think of all the other guys that sacrificed their lives that day, because they're the heroes. He'll tell you too, he's not a hero, but he is. CDOT, thank you for doing the sign too as well. We were a little worried that they didn't have it done the right way, but it is done the right way. I checked it out beforehand. Comcast, thank you again for paying for it too as well. And a big hand, if you're nice and cool, raise your hand, because Harry back there, stand up Harry. Henry, stand up. Henry was back here when we had the walkthrough and said, this is too hot, we need tents. So he got it, so we appreciate you, Henry. The Pikes Peak Heroes Legacy Committee, Bob, all the guys we work with together on all this stuff. Incredible to be able to honor, you know, these guys. I hope this doesn't stop. I hope it keeps going for more heroes out there, because like my dad says, that my story's a story, but there's other people out there that have a different story that are heroes too as well. Stephanie from Holiday Village, like I say, this has been tremendous. Volunteered. My wife says, oh, this would be a perfect place to have it. Well, it came true, Kath. You got it here. So, but Stephanie in Holiday Village and all the people that volunteered for all the parking, you know, the food, all those different things, you could thank all them, because they did a great job for us. And then Randy, he's not here, but he's one of the corporate managers of Holiday Village. And then one person we haven't thanked at all, who's done, oh, there we go, who's done a great job of organizing everything, setting things up, being here to the late hours. Lisa Bachman, thank you very much. Been tremendous with all this stuff. She was here late last night making sure that it all gets set up and, you know, I mean, taken care of, so everybody's in great shape. You know, this next gentleman, if you have not read my dad's book, All the Gallant Men, Ken Geyer, please stand up. Ken is the author, spent weeks and weeks at my dad's house. And this would have never happened if it wasn't for his daughter, Gretchen. Stand up, Gretchen. She heard my dad on the radio when we had an interview, and the guy asked, well, why hasn't your story been in a book? And he goes, well, nobody's ever asked me to do a book. So she called her dad. He's a big-time author, and we got it done, and it was number 6 bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list. It's also in the works. We're hoping. We've got the script to Clint Eastwood, and we've got the script to Steven Spielberg, hopefully, too, as well. And also, I'd like to thank Greg Johnson. Please stand up, Greg. Greg's the one who got the book off the ground completely. So without him, we wouldn't be anywhere around where people wouldn't know my dad's story. It's sold almost 300,000 copies. So thanks to you for, looking to buy the book and all that other stuff. But as far as our family is concerned, that's one thing, the inspiration about my mom and dad. It's never about them. It's about their family. And the inspiration that they gave me about family and also doing the right thing like Joe did that day. Do the right thing and know that God has a plan for you. At this time, I'd like to introduce, they have 6 great-grandchildren, and I'd like to have them stand right now with their moms or their dads or both. On the far side over there, waving Robert Stratton and his son, Robert Vaughn Stratton III, and Kennedy Jane Stratton. Also, my daughter, my oldest daughter, Jessica Caldwell, her son, Bo, you probably heard him, Bowden David Caldwell, and then the younger boy, and it's Bryce Stratton Caldwell, and then the granddaughter too as well is Emerson Grace Caldwell, and then Kimmy Stratton, Kimberly Stratton, my brother's daughter, and her son Jack Brewer, and I would just like to, recognize them, and my brother Robert, his wife Becky, and my daughter Nikki too as well. You probably know Nikki. She does a lot of the stuff with the internet and doing all of our websites. She's my guru for the internet and doing all those different things. But one thing would make this very special all the way around is if my brother Robert Vaughn Stratton and my sister, 2 sisters, Gypsy Dawn Stratton and Roxanne Joe, were here today because they would have loved this, to be here with my dad. So I know you're looking down, Rob, Gypsy, and Roxanne. Appreciate it all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for everything. This has been a wonderful day. And like I say, this is just, it'll be one added thing in the last 11 years that I've had the opportunity to do with my dad and travel with my mom and dad and my daughters and all the grandkids and everything else, that it will live in infamy. So appreciate it all. Thank you very much.
Hey, could I have a Troop 77 scout with me? And Randy, don't go anywhere. We have a presentation to Stephanie Bourne. But we've got a couple, most of the thank yous are complete. We've got a couple unveilings, and then we'll wrap up the ceremony this morning. And we do Holiday Village to our gracious host, Stephanie, come on up. And last but not least, with Rear Admiral Coleman, Representative Larry Liston, Commissioner Vanderworth, and Randy Stratton, please rise and help unveil the new and forever Stratton Fillmore Bridge.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3, hold!